Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline. My today's interview partner is Benjamin. We met on Facebook. This is very amazing. And I would like you to introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Hello, Caroline. Good morning. I'm Benjamin from Berlin. A nomad in the world, bird traveler, and holistic life coach healer, um, which I was called to. And most importantly, at this time, I'm assisting you in deep DNA healing and trauma clearing from all times. That's what I do with the plant medicine I learned with the indigenous people in Colombia during the pandemic, where I left Europe behind. And yeah, I'm here of service. So in case you would like to connect, please feel free to contact me.
Oh, this is really amazing because we never spoke before. We just chatted a little bit on Facebook, and then you were predestined to come in my podcast show because you have so many interesting things to say. I didn't know this. Okay, holistic coach, and then medicine. You talked about Colombia as well. So and you are practicing this as well. This would be very amazing. So my question is, what inspired you to go deep into that topic?
Well, we talked a little bit before this call, right? And you said you were just dropped in. And the same happened to me in 2017 when I was kicked out of pharmaceutical service, so to say. I'm a pharmacist and was a life scientist for quite some time. And at a certain point, God said, "Oh no, that's not for you anymore. Get out of here." So I was getting on my path with a very, very lovely friend to create our own organic skincare, but this failed and I was completely set free and lost basically everything in 2020. So with the pandemic, of course, it's not really nice to be around and locked in all the time. So I had the call to start to go to create the prophecy of the rainbow warriors that we also know as the Hopi prophecy, to go into the word. And that's where all of this came to me. Like all the knowledge was reactivated, so to say, to work with ayahuasca, with mushrooms, and to really cure people with that. Of course, it just works when people want to be cured. But it's a very nice job now, like an alchemist from both words, from the spirit and from the classic world, so to say.
Oh, I love that so much. You connect the worlds. And this podcast also is about connecting people from all over the world. This is my purpose. It is so amazing that we met because, yeah, we can talk later about. But I'm very interested in what you offer. Yeah, we will talk about that later. Who inspires you?
Well, that's mostly women, to be honest. I cannot even give you the names, but when you would like to have one particular name, because I just saw her about 3 days ago, she is called Teal Swan, and she's from America, and she's a deep shadow worker like I am. So I'm not against anything. When you have done your inner work, you'll see, okay, every fractal of source, so to say, which are you and me and everyone else, has their own timing to the process. And what's very important is, though, and that's what we proclaim for the people and what we assist in, is that we don't try to put everything away any longer, but say, okay, there's something that obviously causes pain to me, and come here. I want to see it now, and then start into the process of inner clearance, of healing, because from my understanding, that's what God tells me, at least, is that we all contribute our own part. That's why we are so many fractals to the process of healing our world. And when everyone does this, it's a matter of 1 year, maybe 2 years, that we are a little bit more focused. And afterwards, we have the best life that we could ever imagine. And so this is what I want to pass out and motivate people to reconsider or to feel into.
Wow. I feel very inspired now because this is so true. I was thinking about this as well. I know thinking is not so important. I felt this as well, that we are on a way when where everyone is awakening now. I don't know the word.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
waken up now. Yes, I have this feeling, and it starts with you. It always starts within ourselves with the decision, and this is so amazing. What you talked about DNA, I immediately think about Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know him about the DNA. He explains it from the scientific view about changing the DNA within 7 days. I don't know your approach to that, or your, what do you think about how different is this from what you teach?
Well, I think in the core it's actually the same, but I'm bringing people there with the initiation into their own shadow, so that they are not afraid anymore, and that they get this feeling here in the heart back, right? So they know, okay, this is right, and this is bullshit, for example, right? So what I do is I live this in full surrender to God, because I don't know from without any measurements and without any science, without a PCR, what it's all about, the DNA of someone I work with or my own, right? So I just can feel it. So what I do is to go into the full surrender, and in the prayer, when we work together, everything happens. It's like miracle healing, you could say, right? But under the state of death, because when we use ayahuasca, we have DMT, and which simulates death and rebirth. So we have this simulation of a rebirth, actually, and in this rebirth, because us operators, we are still here, right? And we are the channel for all this information coming in. We can transport, I would say transport past this energy to the one who wishes to receive. So this is what happens, and everything happens without the need to think about it. So this is very important. The more you are aligned with your heart, the less you need to think about it, the less you can fuck it up as a human, you know?
Absolutely. And why I have my wow moment now is because this morning, like 4 or 5 hours ago, I had not the exact same conversation, but the same words were used. About rebirth, for example, and also
Mhm.
the DMT thing. It is an abbreviation, but someone mailed me the word for the chemical. You know this as a pharmacist, or
It's
people will know.
N dimethyltryptamine.
Mhm. Yeah, someone mailed me this. It's not someone, it's the guy from, I can say this now, from episode 88, by the way. And yeah, everyone is in my podcast, and I am so happy that you are here to explain it. For the first time I understood, because I didn't do. When you said about you go into that journey, you surrender, and it feels like a rebirth. You don't have to think about it. And the best part is, after that, you don't have to think anymore, I assume,
No,
because
no.
you are healed.
Yes, the healing
Mhm.
is done, but of course there's a long period for the people, mostly uh, at least 1 month, mostly 3 months, 6 months, where they constantly still receive the information what they have experienced. So it comes broken down into smaller portions, so to say. So this is what they get, and this is very important. You need to imagine ayahuasca or a mushroom experience equally as an overload of impression that is not really to be grasped by your mind anymore. So this is mostly a code of the plant spirit of nature that is written into your heart. So I like that. I see it, at least, and this is when you have all the little fractals. And I prepared like the Yui Toto in the Amazon rainforest, like a very distinct couple I met over there. So you have this coding from the divine, right, from life itself, that's written into your heart, and from there you don't have to think. Of course, the better is you don't think at all, then it can arise, and then of course you can make up your thoughts to that, you know. But it's a natural order: heart first, mind second. And an empty mind second is the best tool, and with that you can create really, really good, like you say, like with your invitation to create the podcast out of nothing. You just follow this guidance intuitively, and it flows, you know. So this is exactly the right way to do it.
Oh, thank you so much for the confirmation, because the best part I witnessed with the podcast is that almost everyone said yes to the invitation, and there was only one person saying no, but I knew it in advance. When you know it in advance, like, you don't have to ask that person, she's going to say no, and it was that way. So for me, it's like a proof. So I was in doubt, and I wanted to be like my old programming, like being nice to everyone, this. So I invited the person, and she said no, but I knew it, whatever. But everyone says yes to the invitation, and I'm so happy about that. So this is the flow you are mentioning.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that so much. Also about the allowance, to give yourself the allowance to follow your impulses. Yes, and I
Well,
love what you said about the coding, of course, the codes. Mhm.
well, I cannot explain you this codings. Maybe it is part of because I was scientist, right? I need to finish my PhD. I did it in Innsbruck. That's close to your place, anyways. And maybe I finish this, and then I can find scientific answers at a certain point. That would be really beautiful. But what you say about the flow, let's talk about this. I think this is what happens now, that people are sick in the meanwhile of the whole discussion with the mind and all of all this fighting, and this is my invitation, guys, to everyone. Just let go of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone else is thinking, as long as we see the whole, that we want to have peace, that we want to have a lovely surrounding with our people, and that we wish to create with Mother Nature again. I think this is very important, that we don't forget about our root as living beings. This is really important, and this is what I really, really wish to pass on as a take-home message. And doesn't matter who, Caroline, by connecting the people, me as a healer, others as musicians and artists who create with us and can advise this. We have to find a way where we can reestablish this joy. Joy. It's joy in life. That's what it is, actually. Yes, that's what it is.
Yes. That's the message, and we are happiness. This is our essence. We are born to be happy. We just forgot. How do we do this? By the programming of the thinking, and we don't need the thinking. We don't know. We don't need this. It's
Well,
amazing.
sometimes I'm standing for this thinking. I'm a man, and we are more
Oh,
analytic than you ladies. And sometimes for you guys, for the girls, it's very important to integrate this side a little bit more, so they can express their beautiful feelings and this depth in a word, so the community can understand, as we need to integrate the feeling, of course. But no, the thinking can be good. It's not good when we continue the old path of, okay, I need to think about everything and then try to get it into one portion, into a synthesis. No, the flow brings everything, and then we can think, of course, okay, how do we solve it the best way? In the process for that, the thinking is still okay, I would say.
okay. I understand. Okay, and how do you inspire other people?
Well, this is a good one. I'm finding my way. I'm mostly when I meet people like you now, that happens automatically. But when one reads me on Facebook, I'm very tough sometimes as well with the truth, as you know. So this is something that, for my own liking, is not yet in complete alignment, because it can be when you ask people to do their shadow work and take responsibility and so on, they are not really amused about that, and they are like, oh, I don't want to hear anything about that. So this is actually what I'm finding at the moment through my discipline, I guess. And of course, I can orientate myself a little bit more in the divine feminine wording and explaining things. And this is really what I would need to integrate more, to be honest. And this is a criticism towards myself at this point. But yeah, we'll see. Honesty, honesty. And then the
Oh,
action that follows, it's like when you say something
mhm.
in the encounters that we have, and then it really happens. I think this is how I inspire people, and then they continue because they can feel it.
Yes, yes. So like authenticity as well, and
Yes, yes,
honesty.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for
I thank
sharing. And
you.
my next question is, What are your gifts and talents?
Well, I feel this I have a lot, and I feel really blessed for that. But really, honestly, it's a miracle healing, and this really strong connection as a very old soul to the divine. And this is I cannot tell you this and that and this and that because it wouldn't do justice. I think we can do everything what we are called to do, and this is maybe my gift, that I'm very flexible and that I can go everywhere on the world as well, and be at home. So this is really what it is actually, and fit in, like bing, 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 and there he is, and it's like in short time it's like home. I think this is really the adaptation. This is really something.
Yes, yes. So you are a world citizen. Oh,
Yes, I would say so.
I like this. Okay, now my last question is about your offers and services. We heard of that before. Yeah, if you have something special for the Inspired Podcast community.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, of course. I'm a traveling way shower, a traveling healer, and you can book me and invite me home, because I feel from everything I was trying last year, this is the most comfortable for many people. If they don't need to travel, if they don't, if I don't need to organize anything, and hope that sufficient people will be there. So this is one offer I have at the moment, and the next one is that I am traveling in the world, and when you would like to travel with me to the indigenous people of Colombia, for example, they have very good connections. Now I'm going to establish this with the yogis in India as well, but without show, not like this fancy stuff that you get with everyone else. It's a very, very true experience. So we will sleep in a hammock, most likely with the indigenous, for example, and live with them and see how everything is. And the same, I would say, happens now in India with the yogis, where I will volunteer and ask them if we can bring true people who are on their path in the West in there, and everyone who travels with me has, probably because they are nice people all the time, the opportunity to stay longer or something after the trip. So this is what I offer. This is what I'm co-creating, because I need the energy here in Europe. I earn this, or in the United States with working with the people as a healer, and then this traveling in the world, and um, maybe something very special, an invitation, because I am called, like you are called, to do your stuff, Caroline, to create an NGO, to bring together all the indigenous wisdom and cultures. But I don't know yet how to do it. And I'm inviting you to reach out if this resonates, to ask me or to challenge me even with your input regarding this. It's about the second coming of Christ. That's one thing, The other say it's the fulfillment of the rainbow prophecy, that the rainbow warriors come together. So we should create, or I should create, this network. And this is you can be part of that as well, of course. And this is not a service then, but a co-creation.
Oh, I love that very much. This is all that I would love to do. World traveling, sleeping in a hammock. Wow, I love that. I do this in the garden, in my my garden. Of course, I did this. Yes, and about the NGO, of course, I started creating my own one last year, so I can connect you to the person as well who helps me with that. Maybe
Oh,
it resonates. You never know. And yes, of course. Yeah, so there are your connections. Please reach out and connect to Benjamin. He's amazing. You heard what
thank
he
you very
has a
much.
lot of gifts and talents. Thank you. This was amazing, and see you in the next episode.
Thank you very much, Caroline.